With the Hammers gearing up for a seismic summer, it is by no means a certainty that Declan Rice will leave. That is a quote from Jack Rosser over at the Evening Standard in his article, How Much is Declan Rice Worth? More to West Ham than anyone else. Now, I've seen this quote going around social media of the last week talking about what it means, the seismic summer being quoted a lot. Is this an indication of West Ham's transfer budget in the summer? Is this an indication of how many transfers West Ham are going to make? Now, I personally read into this and say it's just a fancy description for, it's going to be a big summer for West Ham. It's just a nice way of wording it. But I've seen people reading into it in that terms, reading into it as the budget, the amount of players we're interested in, all that kind of stuff. Now, I might disagree with them, but you know what it does do? It does justify every transfer rumour we've got. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the West Ham Transfer Rumours Show. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up today, including Areola updates on Jarrod Bowen being pursued and maybe some legitimate interest incoming, as well as a bunch of forward players West Ham are interested in, big ticket strikers, wingers that you've heard of, and then some stuff that I can't speak to too much, which we'll start and just power through so we get it done and out of the way, because there's two players West Ham have been linked with in the last week who play for Mainz in Germany. I've seen them play, but I really can't speak to them. Those two players are Musa Niakhate, I've never been able to pronounce his name, centre-back, and his centre-back partner, Jeremy St. Juste. Now, you might know that name, especially if you play FIFA, you might know that name. He's very, every Ultimate Team player has used him at some point because he's the fastest player in the Bundesliga is St. Juste. He's a centre-back who can also play right-back. We've been linked to both of these players. First of all, we'll go to Mike McGrath at The Telegraph, who says West Ham are among Premier League clubs showing interest in Mainz centre-back Musa Niakhate. The 26-year-old Frenchman could be allowed to leave the Bundesliga side for just £8 million this summer. I apologise, Musa, for butchering your surname. £8 million sounds like a decent backup option. He's got relatively good stats when I looked at it. Mainz have been a really good defensive side this year, and he's been in the middle of practically all of it. Interesting for eight. If they're willing to let him go for 8 million, that sounds like it could be a perfect sort of third choice, especially say if we were to sell Diop for 12 million, like we spoke about in the previous transfer room show. This could be a nice little backup with a bit of extra money to go. Do you know what I mean? We then head over to Christian Falk, who is the head of football at Blind, the German football outlet. He said on Twitter, Leicester and West Ham. Leicester and West Ham are interested in Jeremy St. Juste for the transfer in the summer. The 25-year-old centre-back of Mainz is the fastest player in the Bundesliga. Also, Dortmund and Leverkusen are monitoring. Just having a little gander. They're in the running. They're thinking about it as well. So a lot of interest in him, which makes sense. He's not played a whole bunch this season for as far as I've seen. But like I say, you probably all know that one. He's been around. He's been around for a while as a young player coming through the ranks. Now, those out of the way because I can't really speak to them. Let's get to Areola updates, shall we? This is coming via way of L'Equipe. West Ham could be tempted to exercise the €13 million option in the Areola deal to sign him permanently. That's the new update here, that we're tempted to do that. There's been a lot of talk about us just loaning him again in the summer. Moyes has made overtures about saying he wants to keep him. That's sort of been the background hum of this. We're now getting that from L'Equipe that we actually could be tempted to just buy him outright in the summer. Interesting to me. I personally would love it. What's your opinion on the Areola situation? Do you think we should sign him? Do you think we should go after someone else? We've got people like Johnson, all that sort of Johnston in the Championship and all that sort of people existing. But is this the person we should go for? This is, of course, amidst all the rumours that Fulham were growing, what was the quote? Increasingly confident, I think it was. Growing increasingly confident. Signing him. They want him back. He was obviously at Fulham before us. Is this something we should get done? In my opinion, yes, it is. The wages are the big stumbling block here. He's apparently on like 100k or something. Obviously playing for PSG, played for Real Madrid. Not a shock, but yeah. Is this something you would be interested in? For me, definitely so. Darwin Nunez, the Benfica striker who, of course, we bid for in January, the one we were seriously interested in. If you were listening to Gio's good interview with the boy Fabrizio Romano, which I would highly recommend. He speaks about West Ham's interest in Nunez being very, very genuine indeed. Correa de Manha, Manha, the Portuguese outlet, they are reporting that West Ham scouted him in the recent game against Liverpool. On top of that, the Express are reporting that Benfica have given him a £65 million price tag, while stating that West Ham is still interested but face competition from European elites. Gio said once, and I hate quoting him, but I think I make him right on this. The idea of a lot of time you only get opportunities to sign players once. You know, when you're looking at up and comers, you only get opportunities to sign them once. Now, obviously, when you're looking at a 65 million price tag, this is no longer really an up and comer we're talking about. We're not talking about some 20-year-old French striker in Ligue 2. We're not talking about that, right? We're talking about a guy who is doing it at the very highest level, right? Maybe not in the Portuguese league, but certainly, depending on how you feel, I don't judge that. But European competition, right? But the point is maybe January was that time, was that option. Maybe that was the only time we were ever going to get the chance to sign Darwin Nunez. I think you have very limited opportunities. The fact he has such a high transfer budget, transfer value, probably plays into our favour to some extent, because it might put other teams off. There are bigger teams who can go and attract other players, whereas we could just come in and pay it and make it happen. I don't know. We'll see how that one plays out. Lucas Ocampos. You might remember him. We played him recently, of course. Sevilla winger. He's in the news at Calcio Mercato, which is weird because it's an Italian site and he's an Argentinian player playing for a Spanish club. So read into that. Does that make it more accurate? Does that make it less likely in your opinion? That's up to you. But they are saying, quote, West Ham and Wolves are monitoring Argentine winger Lucas Ocampos' situation at Sevilla. The Spanish side could consider selling the 27-year-old this summer. Intriguing. We've been linked with a numerous amount of wingers at this point. It's West Ham. We will go and get an attacking midfielder / winger, at least one, maybe two. It's what we do every window. Without doubt, we're doing it. Maybe Ocampos is that guy. Were you impressed with him when we faced Sevilla? Let me know how you felt. I thought he played pretty well, and he's fast. So Gonzo will like that one. Jarrod Bowen. Let's get to the Jarrod Bowen update, shall we? We've got two more stories. We've got a fun and finally item about a former West Ham player potentially returning, but we'll hit up the Jarrod Bowen news first, shall we? This is coming via 90 Mins and Toby Cudworth and Graham Bailey over there, breaking all the transfer stories, those boys. Quote, Newcastle join the race for West Ham forward Jarrod Bowen. Now, we've spoken on these previous shows. Newcastle are going to be linked with absolutely everyone, even players in this update. We're talking about Niakhate, the mine centre back we were talking about earlier. They've been linked with him as well. And now apparently they want their grubby mitts. Their grubby mitts on Jarrod Bowen. Quote, West Ham want to renew his contract. Initial discussions have taken place and Bowen is very happy at the club. But Newcastle can pay big and plan to revamp the forward line over the next 12 months. Look, it's far from a shock that Jarrod Bowen is going to be interesting in clubs like Newcastle. It's far from a shock that Jarrod Bowen is going to be interesting in clubs like Liverpool, potentially Manchester United. There's a lot of clubs, that Jarrod Bowen could be interesting because of just how good he's been this season. He's been absolutely lightning this season. You'd be shocked if he isn't at least in the sights of Southgate for England at this point, right? He's been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And when you've got a club like Newcastle, similar to how when Manchester City first got taken over, I always think the best move to do, like everyone gets excited, all the Newcastle fans getting excited, being like, we're going to buy Mbappe, blah, 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 blah. The smart thing to do is to go and buy the best of the rest. They're an achievable transfer to make, you know? You go, you slap down big money, bang. Bowen's still on his first contract technically at West Ham, I think, so he's probably on whatever we paid him originally. I know there was some disagreements in the negotiations there, so he would have got paid more than I think we were planning to pay a championship winger at the time. But still, that he's not on the name they bring up, for example, in the thing is they compare the wages to Kurt Zuma, right? That's the easy one. That's the obvious one. It's the one that everyone's going to go for all the time. He's not on Zuma money, but Newcastle could very easily give him Zuma money if they wanted to. And actually, if you are Newcastle, it makes perfect sense. You go and get Jarrod Bowen, a guy who, you know, is probably good enough to play in the Europa League consistently, would be an absolutely lightning forward for you, achievable money-wise. It makes sense. Will it happen? I highly doubt it. But we'll see. We'll see. They've even in the article it says that he's happy at West Ham, and we've already started negotiations on a new contract, which you suspect would happen sooner rather than later. So we'll see how that one plays out. But yet more interest in Bowen. And finally, a former West Ham player is keen on returning, or is not keen on return. Allow me to rephrase that. A former West Ham player is in our sights for a return. Josh Cullen. Now, I personally would love this, but let me go to Team Talk. And I don't know how much stock I put in this, so that's why I've left it to the end. It's also just a fun, nice story. But Team Talk are reporting that West Ham and Leeds, the headline, West Ham Leeds chasing durable midfielder dreaming of second Prem shot. Quote, former West Ham starlet Josh Cullen is being hunted by a host of English clubs to bring him back to England, Team Talk understands. The 25-year-old made just 3 appearances for West Ham, but has now become a leading light in Belgium under Vincent Kompany. This is, of course, for Anderlecht. The 26-time capped Ireland international has become one of the most dominant midfielders in the Belgian top flight. However, that now leaves Anderlecht facing a battle to retain his services. We understand that Wolves, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Leeds, Burnley, Norwich, Fulham and Sheffield United have all been following his progress closely. I'm surprised Newcastle on that list. They're usually in lists like that, aren't they? Furthermore, it is understood West Ham have been keeping abreast of his development ahead of a potential return to London. Finally, we go to a quote from the boy himself. Quote, of course it would be a dream to play in the Premier League again. As a footballer, you want to play against the best players in the best leagues, and the best league is the Premier League. So there you go. Potential return for Josh Cullen. Would you be interested in that? I very much would. Listen, as Noble passes out, Josh Cullen passes back in. I would potentially love that. I would love it. Depends on money and all that other situation. And am I convinced he can make it in the Premier League? Not yet. But I would love to see him try. I wanted him to get a shot before he left. He's gone over to Anderlecht. One of my favourite things English players or homegrown players can do is go abroad and ply their trade and make their name for it there. It's one of the reasons I've been sort of semi-following closely Reece Oxford's progress. I love it. I think it's something not enough English players do. You're looking at likes of Sancho, you're looking at likes of Bellingham, we're going out doing big things. And I really would love to see that rewarded and see more players do that. I would adore to see Josh Cullen back at the club. Mark Noble replacement, maybe. How do you feel? Let me know in the comment section below about that. And all of the stories from today's Transfer Rumours show. Remember, tomorrow is match day. West Ham Brentford is happening. 2 o'clock kickoff, which means that at 12:55 the build-up show will be taking place. Then half an hour before kickoff, that will switch over to the watch along with myself, of which I will keep you company throughout the entire game. Halftime, someone will come and join me for a bit, mainly so I can go wee. And then, of course, I'll be handing over at full time for the live match review. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification button if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on any of that good stuff. And hit the like button while you're there, because it helps. It pushes us up in the algorithm. Do you know what I mean? It means more people can hear me mispronounce Musa Niakhate. Thank you for watching, everyone. Come your irons, and I'll see you next time. See you later. Bye.